If you are feeling a little confused with I have to record. I can't be quiet. I have to talk. Okay. Hello dears, Natalie Locke here for episode 15 of Write the Story. If you are feeling a little confused of where the numbers are, I'm going to make it easy for you. Right now, at this time, there have been 3 live streams. Episode 10, 12, and 14 have been produced for the live streams, which means number 10, 12, and 14 out of this book are in those live streams. And then we also make up our own writing prompts, which are fun too. I'll make sure to put those in the cards if I haven't already by this point. Throw it up there so that you can see those live streams and see those writing prompts. Back to this episode's writing prompt. If you're new to this, what I do is I give myself 10 minutes to outline and then 20 minutes to draft. Under 400 words. For this story, I only had like 243 words, which is pretty low with my normal 300, might even be over 400 words per story. The writing prompt is Unsolved Mystery. The 10 words to include are murder, green, agreement, traditional, carpenter, snake, sugar, kidney, Congress, and jam. Now, if you wish, you can pause this video, write your own story, and find out what works for you, what didn't work for you. Or you can keep on listening, and I will give you my outline, and then I will tell you how much between the outlines changed. I saw you. All right. So I have the main character waking up and then snaking out of their bed. And they're going to the fridge to grab a sandwich. Because that's what we always do right when we wake up. They realize, well, spoiler alert, that the sandwich has been eaten. And the roommate and the main character had an agreement. They were a traditional roommate situation. And I put the phrase that the roommate used to be Swedish sugar. And I think I kept that. Yeah, I did. It's like I'm getting pranked. Okay. I also had in here that the roommate used to be a Swedish sugar, and now they're not so sweet. The main character sees a smear of green on the plate, or on the box, on the inside from the avocado, showing that everything else of their sandwich is gone. And I put the phrase, and this is what kind of steered and kicked off this entire thought process. I said, they murdered the sandwich. So I kind of took something dark and I made it funny, which, let's face it, that's what I do. I try to make dark things funny all the time. I threw in the joke of like, it's just between roommates, they're just trying to say, hey, I'm not asking for a kidney, just respect my stuff. And this is where it gets interesting, because last week, the roommate practically called Congress when the main character left the jam out. Now, I changed that up a bit, but it's still there. One of them was trying to play carpenter and took the doors off the cabinets. So that hits all the 10 words. And the thing is that I changed Congress a little bit, and I used it more as a jab. I think it was more internal, because I tried to have a lot more internal anger and animosity of the main character towards the roommate than what was shown outwardly. So I guess at this point I should just read the story. So 1 out of 10 words changed. I woke up and snaked out of bed. 45 minutes before I had to leave for work. Plenty of time to eat my leftover avocado BLT. I go to the fridge and unbox my sandwich to see just a smear of green on the inside. Seriously? I thought my roommate and I had an agreement. Just a traditional divide of takeout leftovers are for who bought it, unless otherwise stated. We're not talking about sharing kidneys here. Damn. I walked to their room. They used to be sweet as sugar. I knock on the door, trying to keep myself in check. Hey, did you murder my sandwich? What? They rub their eyes. No, I came home from work and immediately went to bed. You did leave out the jam again. I take a breath. Sorry about that. But I had to reattach the cabinet doors since you wanted to play carpenter and take them off. Huh? No, I didn't. Dude, I got 3 more hours before I need to be at work. I'm going back to bed. They shut the door. Oh, sure. When I leave something out, they practically call Congress. I decide to go get ready for work. I'll just pick up food on the way. I brush my teeth first and lean over the sink to spit. A piece of lettuce peeks out of the toothpaste foam. So I know my previous stories, I've been in a dark place, which is okay. It's okay to be in a dark place. It's as long as we don't stay there all the time and dwell in it. But this time I went a little more lighthearted. I'm interested to see what people think about this story, in the sense of, was there anything that stood out to them? Maybe they have their own hunch about what's happening in the household between these 2 roommates. I kind of wanted to leave it a little bit to interpretation. So maybe it's there, maybe it's not. We'll see. I will say, when I first started this story, I was really just unsure where I was going to go. What was the mystery going to be? How in depth was this mystery going to be? And I was a little afraid to conquer this. But once I had that thought process of murdered a sandwich, I knew where I was headed with it. It kind of just set the tone for the rest of the story for me. What I didn't like about this story overall for me is I didn't have my characters interact with their surroundings that much. Though, I mean, I don't have to explain an apartment or a house or whatever in detail. You got the characters rubbing their eyes as they're going, what? You know, and you can kind of imagine that they're probably not quite fully awake. And you could imagine someone opening the door and opening a takeout box and like going, what the hell? You know, and kind of being pissed and everything. So there's a lot of things that they didn't do. And I had the room. I will show you. I had plenty of room here, if I wanted to, where I could say the main character could have tossed the box into the trash can as they walked by to go approach their roommate and, you know, get that face-to-face going like, hey, what were you thinking? You know, but with that, oh God. And even though I feel like I'm lacking that interaction with the environment or even setting the environment, I feel that a reader can still follow easily what's going on here. Even as I was writing, I was having the main character go on this rant of like, my roommate used to be sweet as sugar and kind of pissed off. But then I realized I didn't say, hey, they're walking to their roommate's door about to knock. So I had to plug that in while I was writing it, and I got to where it needed to be. Overall, I feel like I need to work on that part, the interaction with the environment. But I feel like the meat and potatoes are there. We just need to make the broth taste more like broth and less like water, if that makes sense. I know, I'm crazy with my analogies, and if you cook, I'm sorry if I ruined that. So I actually have 2 favorite lines, and it's not really the specific lines, but I feel like I was creative on how I used the words that we were supposed to use. The first one is when the MC said, we're not talking about sharing kidneys. And I feel like that was a good line to use. It's not a common saying, but yet somebody reading that could be like, whoa, wow, you know. Actually, in a rewrite, I think I would change it to, we're not talking about exchanging kidneys. That way it seems a little more graphic. And I think it would have a bigger punch. So that's one way I would change that line. But I still like the phrasing and what it brings out to the story of like, it's not that serious. But at the same time, it's the MC is saying it's not that serious to respect my stuff. But then also they're also kind of recognizing that it's the whole situation is not that serious either. But as the story unfolds, you kind of realize it's a whole bunch of little things that happen between these two characters, and the MC themselves are just as at fault as their roommate is. The other line that was my favorite, and I'll end on this point, is I felt I was pretty creative, but I did think about changing this, is, oh sure, when I leave something out, they practically call Congress. I like that line of call Congress, because we have the phrase of like congressman in the US, and it means you're going to get something done. But then there's also a joke of it's not going to get done. But I like that line. And I feel like a way that I also could have made that line better, though, is not that line specifically, but another way I could have used the word Congress is say, yeah, for maybe something along the lines of, for my roommate to admit they did something, it would take an act of Congress. But here's the thing. As much as I love that line, act of Congress is more of a cliche. And as we've discussed before on this channel in episode 8, that I'll post right here, cliches are something that as writers we try to avoid. But then when it comes to dialogue, or it's a part of our characters' development, maybe they lean on cliches, it is acceptable, but we still want to keep it in moderation, because what we think is moderation as writers could actually still be just enough to be like, wow, this person really likes cliches or puns or whatever their niche is. So as much as I like the it would take acts of Congress line, I don't think it would be quite appropriate for this part of the story. Well, thank you for listening for another episode, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I enjoyed writing it. I always go into these stories going, oh God, and I have this anxiety of what am I going to write about? But then once I get started, I realize I'm a lot more creative than I thought I was, and I actually have a story in mind. So hopefully if you are ever anxious about writing these stories, just try it. And don't hold yourself to a timeline the first go around. My timeline has evolved where sometimes I have had to take more than 10 minutes to outline or 20 minutes to draft. It's okay. Some people like to edit their flash fiction. I don't like editing. I just want to get it down there. And then I feel like editing is going to happen when I go back through all these stories again, when I've absolutely forgotten what I wrote about too. So, as always, have a good day, have a good week, have a good month, have a good year.